Yo, what's up YouTube? I'm just going to make a short video talking about the Scar 20 buttstock. And yeah, I'm just talking about the buttstock, I'm not talking about the actual Scar 20. The only reason I'm making this video is because I couldn't find a lot of information online about it. And I know YouTube, or a lot, people go to YouTube immediately whenever they're looking for something, some kind of information. So first things first, if anyone is actually looking for one of these buttstocks, I hate to break it to you, but you cannot get this buttstock by itself. So if you are wondering that, you came across this video, you can't. There's two ways to get this buttstock. One, buy a Scar 20. The other way is find someone that is parting a Scar 20 out. So good fucking luck. It took me over a year to get my hands on one of these. I have a Scar 17, I don't have a 20. I don't need a 20. Got no desire to have one. Not that I don't think it's a good rifle. I have a 17, and I know the 20 is a beefed up version of it, with a 20-inch barrel, obviously. But I got a bolt gun for long shots, so if I'm shooting anything further than what my 17 couldn't handle, I'm gonna use my bolt gun anyways. But I do want a precision stock for my 17. It's just a better stock. Nothing wrong with the UGG boot, whatever. I actually like the way it looks, like the way it functions, but this piece right here is actually kind of like a rubberized piece. And sometimes when I'm shooting at the range, or if I'm doing any kind of running and gunning with my 17, and I start to sweat, I don't really get a great cheek well on my UGG boot, because it just slides off, because it's just sweaty skin on polymer. Anyways, I called FN directly to see if you could actually get one from them. The answer is no. Even if you have a Scar 20 and you somehow manage to fuck this buttstock up, they're going to make you send in your entire rifle. Because I asked the guy and I said, hey, what if I just hang up and call back and say that, I broke my Scar 20 buttstock off my Scar 20? He was like, yeah, honestly, they're going to make you send in the entire rifle. They're not just going to give you buttstock, so that was out the window. The company Strike Enterprises? Anyways, they're the ones that make the seal lower for the Scar platform. They had this in production, and it looked almost the exact same. There was just a few things that they tweaked, but the sales rep that I spoke to told me that, I'm trying to quote this exactly, the owner halted the project because, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said word for word, halted the project because the amount of money they put into having these made, they were going to have to sell these at $1,000 a pop. And the owner said he didn't see enough civilians buying this buttstock at $1,000 a pop, so he halted it. The sales rep said it's not halted forever, but there's no ETA on when it's going to be back up, so you can't get one from there. So I hate to break it to you, but if you want one of these, you either got to get lucky and find someone that wants to part ways with it, or you're gonna have to buy you a Scar 20. The other thing I found out after putting about 400 rounds downrange, I noticed a lot of wobble in the stock. So I hit up my buddy that I served with in the Marine Corps, who's got some time behind the 20. And he said those bolts, he's told me to disassemble my Scar. Look at the polymer end plate and see if those bolts are loose. He said more than likely they're loose, and he was right. And then I actually found a video shortly after that of a guy who was doing a couple of shooting drills, and his came loose in the video. So my buddy told me, he's like, dude, get some Loctite or Vibratite and just tighten them down. I asked him, I said, hey, do you know if there's a torque spec? And he said no, he doesn't know of a torque spec. So he said, do hand tight and then just a little bit more after that. And he's like, that's what they did, and they're good to go. I wouldn't recommend doing rock set, just in case for some reason you would have to take this end plate off. Those of you that don't know, if you use rock set, you have to take a torch to that bolt and you're going to end up melting this if you have to do that. And the last thing, for those of you who don't know and you're kind of wondering if the stock is made out of polymer, it's not. This tanadized, you can't really tell because the lighting in here sucks. This tanadized coloring, it's all aluminum. This is polymer, and there's a reason for that. I'll explain it really quick. The bolt on the scar is so, for the 16 it's not a problem, but for the 17 it's so big. Whenever it actually hits this polymer end plate, same thing on the UGG boot, is meant to absorb some of that recoil. So those of you that are running the ACR buttstock with the KDG adapter on it, that's aluminum. If you're running it on a 17, you're more than likely going to fuck it up eventually. The reason I say that is because that is a metal bolt carrier group slamming into a metal end plate on that Scar 17, which is transferring that energy into that aluminum end plate, which is just bouncing it right back as hard as it fucking can. So eventually it's basically just like taking a hammer and hitting a piece of metal with it. That's all you're doing. So that's the reason these end plates are polymer. They're meant to be polymer. That polymer will absorb enough of that energy to where it's actually not going to knock your end plate on your Scar loose, because over time it's basically just doing that, and then eventually that end plate will start to disconnect from your Scar receiver. So there's a reason why a lot of people don't run that ACR buttstock on the 17 platform. On the 16, I heard it's fine. I still wouldn't do it just because of how much those rifles are. I wouldn't want to take the chance, but I will admit they do look better. It looks way fucking cooler. But for the amount of money, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, so this little piece right here, yeah, it's polymer. The rest of this is aluminum. Well, and obviously that's rubber. But yeah, so that is the Scar 20 buttstock. For anyone who was wondering, you know, how can they get their hands on this? I hate to break it to you, but you fucking can't. So hopefully FN will eventually sell it, because, you know, you can get an UGG boot buttstock damn near at any point in time. Shit, you can find those online anywhere, secondhand, whatever. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that video out there just for the information. So I hope I helped someone out there.